Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife news video for you. Now, I've got a number of different things to talk about, but I want to get your feedback, and this is an area where, knife news is one of those things where lots of us know lots of different stuff. So in these videos, it's especially helpful to get some feedback and updates from all of you. So the first thing I want to ask you about is what new stuff are you excited about, and what, especially stuff that's going to be coming out here shortly. I'm going to talk about a bunch of stuff, but the reality is there's no way that I can know everything. And so if you know of something that is just now available at retailers that other people watching might be interested in, comment down below with that, and we can all sort of help each other out along those lines. The other thing I want to ask you guys about is what do you think about companies sort of branching out and expanding into other markets? I think, I definitely get why they want to do it, because they see, a Spyderco or a Zero Tolerance or somebody else doing really, really well in a particular, at a particular price point in a particular sort of segment of the market, and they go, yeah, I want some of that. I want some of that success for myself. And so it makes total sense. And we're going to talk about a couple of companies that are doing that and maybe what it means for the industry. So before we get to that, let's talk about some of the new stuff that is available now or will very, very shortly be available, starting off with some SR knives. So first off, the Lion Steel SR11, which is a really, really cool knife, blade of the year, and now available at most retailers. Even Warriors and Wonders here in Canada recently got it in stock. So if you're looking for one of those, you've been wanting one, it should be pretty easy to get your hands on one at this point. The other knife, not so much, but it should be. I've noticed a couple people have them, but they're not widely available yet, and that is the Cold Steel SR1, which is one of the knives on my short list of knives to check out from Cold Steel. That should be available shortly, if not already. And those are both knives that I hope to check out and be able to share with you my thoughts, review, first impressions, all that stuff. And I'm pretty excited about both of those guys. While we're talking about knives that I'm excited about, I did a first impressions video on this recently. I'll put a link to it down below, but this is the Zero Tolerance 0055. And worth checking out, a pretty exciting knife. Now, if you're watching this in Canada, no Canadian retailers have this yet, and I don't know how long it will be till they do. But I would probably recommend Knives Ship Free. That's where I got mine. They tend to have really fast shipping. In fact, I can order a knife from Knives Ship Free in the US and get it faster than I can order a knife from Warriors and Wonders. Okay, so that's pretty impressive, and their shipping is not that expensive. So I've been very, very happy with them. Now, thinking of Knives Ship Free, let me do a bit of an aside. Okay, over at Knives Ship Free, they have the Gunny Sidekick in stock, and that is the Rob Bixby Bark River collaboration. Such a cool knife. Rob has a video out sharing, sort of a bunch of the variations that are available, and I've gone to Knives Ship Free and checked out all the other ones that are available. Now, they're expensive, guys, but I think the reason they're that price, I think around 265 bucks, is because of the choice to go with M4 steel, which is going to be awesome, great performer. And I would like to get my hands on one of these. By the way, part of the reason I'm excited about this is just I'm excited for Rob. He's a great guy with a great channel, and I'm really happy to see this come to fruition for him. So really, really cool. Now, before we move on to some other stuff that I want to bring up, let's talk about some other models that are out there. The Kershaw Natrix is now available in a lot of places. The Kershaw Induction is now available in a lot of places. Both of those are pretty cool, but I will say this. I've talked to a couple people who've got a Natrix, and they have not been that impressed. The Induction, not so much. People seem to be pretty happy with it. But if you were, if you love the design of the Natrix and you sort of got caught up in the hype, especially because of all the drama surrounding it, you're probably better off to save up and get a Zero Tolerance 0770. Now, that knife is a little small for me, but probably anyone who likes the design of the Natrix is going to be better served by one of those. And there are a bunch of them out there. There's a sort of a gray and black wash blade, there's a green and black, and then there's the CF, and then there's the black aluminum. So all of those different models can usually be had. I think the black aluminum was a limited run. Maybe the other aluminum models are as well, but they're not that hard to find. Okay, so that's probably where I would direct you if you're thinking about picking up a Natrix. Skip it and go for a 0770. So, by the way, talking about, I was just double checking my notes there, but talking about guys who are doing new stuff, these are not available in stores, so that's where I've mostly been focusing the last few minutes. If you watch Zell's channel, he has got some prototypes ready, and he's talked about two of the prototypes that he's been working on. and they're pretty cool. The Raptor looks like a great knife, and I'm pretty excited to see how all of that plays out. I think it's a really cool looking design, so I wanted to let you know about that, and you may want to go check those videos out as well. Since we're kind of talking about new stuff. Now those won't be available in stores for some time, but wanted to give you the heads up anyway. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is some knives coming into a more budget marketplace. The biggest one is the Kaiser Tangram series, because they're going to be even one step cheaper than the Vanguard. So now they'll have the Bladesmith. I should have a Bladesmith here. I guess I don't. I'll show you this one anyway. This is the Intrepid in the Vanguard. I also have the Intrepid in the Bladesmith and the Mini M390 limited run. So I will do a review with all three as sort of a full, definitive, exhaustive Kaiser Intrepid review. That'll be coming up either the end of this week or early next week. But in addition to the Vanguard knives, which Kaiser has done a really good job with, they're going to be doing a step down. Rather than VG10, it'll be 440C blade steel. And if they are able to hit this level of quality at a lower, $40, $50 price point, I think they'll be doing really, really well. And it really will be a challenge for companies like, CRKT and Kershaw and the budget Spydercos or Birds, Charade, all those companies that are producing those $30 to $50 knives they've really got to step up their game. When you've got guys like Real Steel coming up with stuff like this, and you've got Kaiser adding into that marketplace now, and Rake Knives, I should say, and a few others, that's going to be a real challenge. And the winner is actually us as consumers, because if you're looking for a knife between $35 and $55, there are literally hundreds of great, great, great knives. So pretty exciting stuff, and no shortage of options for those of us who like to buy knives. So that's all pretty cool. The other company who's coming into a more budget price range is Custom Knife Factory. Now that's a little more surprising, but I get it, okay? Custom Knife Factory, very expensive knives, more expensive even than WE or Riot knives. I think for a company like that, they're going to look at the Zero Tolerance, the Spyderco, the Benchmade, Cold Steel to some extent, Southern Grind, Steel Will, we could go on, Lion Steel, all putting out knives between that $150 and $250 price point and doing really, really well. And they're going to go, man, wouldn't it be nice to have some of that market for ourselves? And I think it makes total sense. And again, we win because we get more knives at prices we can afford. But I'm going to make a prediction here. We're probably going to see Riot come up with something. I would say in the next year, Riot knives will have something in that price point as well. Everyone else does. Even, Brose Blades does, WE Knives does, Kaiser does. And so it's kind of, you got to kind of go there if you want to, have a lot of market share available to you. And I think most companies want to do that. So pretty exciting stuff, and I look really forward. The first knife they're doing, I can't think of the name of it, but it's going to be their MKAD line. I know that. I just can't remember the name of the very first knife they're doing, but I'm pretty excited to see all the stuff that they come up with. Now, thinking of companies that I'm excited to see what they come up with, I want to talk about Arcform knives. Their first knife is the Slimfoot. It's designed by Jeff Bouvlet. That's Jeff Tough Thumbs or Tough Knives, custom knife maker. And it's a really cool design. Now, I was talking back and forth with them, and I was curious about a few things. And so I found out that their Riot, of course, makes the Slimfoot for them. But they're not just going to work with Riot. They're talking both to some other overseas makers as well as domestic makers. So that's a pretty cool feature, or that's a pretty cool prospect to think about for the future. But not only that, they're also talking to a bunch of other designers. So we can expect to see not only, hopefully, some other designs from Jeff, but also some other well-known designers coming out of Arcform knives, as well as some other manufacturers, both USA made and overseas made. So all of that is pretty interesting. Considering how good of a job they've done on their first knife, it's really interesting to see what's kind of coming in the future. All right, so that's all good to know. Finally, let's talk about some law stuff and community stuff. So Knife Laws, have been changing in a lot of different states. Michigan seems to be the latest. New York State, I think, is close. I haven't found 100% confirmation, and if someone knows about that, comment down below. But New York State seems to be, you know, heading towards some better, more sensible knife laws as well. Michigan recently has changed it, and I think, if I'm understanding correctly what's going on, around September, you should be legally able to use and carry an automatic knife in Michigan. A number of European countries have changed their knife laws. I wish Canada would change theirs. Now, I think Canada is still a little more liberal in their knife laws than a number of European countries, but all over the world, things are getting better for the knife enthusiast. And I think that's really cool. One last point that I want to make, and that is I've got a video coming up about gun laws. And I'd love to hear the misconceptions you guys have heard about gun laws. Recently, someone said to me, you know, down in the States, they can all have fully automatic weapons, and their perception was almost that, you know, every U.S. citizen has like a machine gun in their closet, or that they carry it on their shoulder every single day. And of course, I was like, guys, relax. You know, you still have to do, you have to, you know, be licensed. You have to go through a lot of rigmarole to get a fully automatic firearm in the U.S. But there are also some Canadian misconceptions. So I want to make a video coming up here shortly where we talk about some knife laws, some gun laws. Especially we talk about what the gun laws are in Canada, because I've also heard people from the U.S. talk about Canada as if like no one's allowed to own a gun, and you know, no one's allowed to defend themselves, and you know, you just can't have any fun in Canada, and that's not true. You know, I have a few guns. Hopefully I'll be able to share some of those with you and talk about what the gun laws actually are here north of the border. Again, I'd like to see them change, and what is it? CCFR, Canadian Federation of Firearms Rights, CFFR maybe. Jeff Giltaca is the main guy there, and I'll link to one of his videos below, and I'll link to their website. But I'll talk more about that when we get to that video as well. So look for that gun video coming up where I'll share some of my guns with you, some of the things that you're allowed to do with guns in Canada and how all of that stuff works, and restricted and non-restricted and stuff. So that should be a lot of fun. It'll be coming up in the next few weeks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure, you know, all those comments would be very, very much appreciated, because as I say, knife news is something that you can't keep up with all of it. So the things that you know and are able to contribute to the discussion are very much appreciated. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.